I was losing just over a pound per week, and most of that was fat. I felt like every morning when I woke up and I looked in the mirror, I was losing weight daily. I was losing fat daily. I just couldn't believe it. What if I told you that I didn't get ripped by training harder, and I actually got ripped by controlling my biology? You see, for years, I hovered in that really frustrating zone. I wasn't overweight, but I wasn't lean either. You could see the outlines of my abs, but I definitely had some fluff still over them. You know, I trained hard, I tracked calories, and I tracked my lifts, but it just wouldn't seem to go away. In this video, I'm gonna show you how I used Retatrutide strategically and not recklessly like most other people. If you misunderstand one of these steps, you won't just stall, you will lose muscle instead of fat. Okay, let's get straight into it. Retatrutide, it's not a magic pill. A magic pill for fat loss doesn't exist. If your training and your diet are not locked in anyway, it's not gonna work for you. You need to have that discipline locked in already. I started using it because my discipline was already locked in, but the hunger levels I would get from dieting was through the roof. Using Retatrutide isn't about smashing your appetite. It's about starting slow and building up. If you completely wipe out your appetite, you're not going to be able to eat enough protein to sustain the muscle. And I wanted fat loss. I didn't want to lose any muscle mass at all. Using it in this way, I didn't feel weak and I didn't feel depleted. I was still able to eat enough carbs to get a solid workout and a solid pump in the muscles when I was training. And I felt good. I didn't feel low energy like I had on previous diets because I was still able to eat enough food, but just enough to be in a calorie deficit. I didn't feel flat, weak, and my muscles didn't feel depleted from carbs because I was still able to get enough in before a workout so that I'd have a solid workout and feel good. The second thing I did, which massively helped, was I done incline walking on a treadmill in the morning in a fasted state. Nothing crazy, just a steady incline walk for about 20 minutes. Why would I do it fasted? Because insulin levels are lower in the morning after you've already digested all of your food overnight. And low insulin makes fat metabolize easier. Now I can hear what you're saying. Fat mobilization isn't fat burning, and you're right. And this is where another compound comes in. The compound I'm talking about here is L-carnitine. If you didn't know this already, L-carnitine's job is to transport fatty acids into the mitochondria. This is the part in your cells that actually burns fat to create energy. And walking on an incline treadmill was intentional instead of doing something like a HIIT workout. It means I was able to recover and not get exhausted every single day, which meant I had loads of energy for my weightlifting routine later on in the day. It meant when I went into them lifting sessions, I could really train hard. I could give my muscles a lot of stimulus, and that would mean that I could keep or even slightly gain the muscle instead of losing muscle. You know, the goal wasn't for me to burn the most calories in the morning. It was to get that fat oxidization going and make the most of the window where I could burn the most fat. I felt like this was a massive, massive step in what got me shredded. I was consistent with it, and I could, it sounds strange, but I feel like I was lighter after coming out of every single treadmill session in the morning. Okay, the third thing that I changed this time round, which helped me get shredded, was I done a 3-day full body lifting routine instead of a classic bro split or an Arnold split or a push-pull leg split. And I'll explain why. Typically, when you're in a fat loss phase, if you're doing an advanced lifting split, you're gonna be training 4, 5, maybe even 6 days. And when calories are low, you're gonna feel very exhausted, very fast. By doing just 3 days of heavy lifting, full body routine, I'm doing heavy compound lifts. I'm not taxing my body as much and I've got more time to recover. The protein muscle synthesis signal is still extremely high because I'm taxing my body in just an hour of super hard, full body heavy lifting. Retatrutide itself does help to preserve muscle over something like Mounjaro or Wegovy, but that's not its main goal. You need to do the hard work so that your muscle gets the signal that it needs to keep hold of the muscle or even grow it bigger. And if you're doing this every single day, you're gonna get taxed dead fast, and you're not gonna be able to recover in time to get that signal again. You're not gonna be able to work out as hard if you're working out every single day. You know yourself, if your lifts are dropping drastically in the gym, then you are losing muscle. So if this is happening, you need to adjust. You need some more recovery time. So drop a day in your lifting routine and do more incline walk in the morning. By dropping a day of working out, you're not gonna lose your gains. You're actually gonna keep them stable because you're able to go harder in your sessions. And that's what gives your muscles the signal to stay around and stay big, stay full. And that is one of the keys to how you get shredded and not just go skinny. Okay, now tip number 4, and this is gonna be very controversial. I put myself in a very, very drastic calorie deficit. I'm talking 700 calories per day. Yes, this was very aggressive. And was it stupid? It actually wasn't, and here's why. Retatrutide made the adherence possible. Without it, 700 calorie deficit, it feels like you're starving yourself. And while I was using Retatrutide, I can't remember the last time I got that grumbly feeling in my body, in my stomach, because I was so hungry that I just had to devour a horse. I felt like even on a 700 calorie deficit, I was getting enough protein and enough carbs before my workout that it was actually sustainable. My lifts weren't going down. In fact, some of them were actually improving because my insulin sensitivity was improving. And on a 700 calorie deficit, I was losing just over a pound per week, and most of that was fat. I felt like every morning when I woke up and I looked in the mirror, I was losing weight daily. I was losing fat daily. I just couldn't believe it. But if you're not locked in your training, your sleep and your dieting, this approach isn't gonna work. I was still sleeping 7 to 8 hours every night. I was locked in the gym on my lifting routine. I was tracking every single lift. I was tracking every single calorie, every single gram of protein that I was having. I had a plan. It wasn't a, let's just eat as little as possible and pray that I lose fat. It was an aggressive deficit, but it was a controlled aggressive deficit. It was controlled aggression because my hunger was suppressed just enough. And that's the most important thing here. You don't want to crush your appetite. It was suppressed just enough so that I didn't have to quit. I felt good. I didn't binge late at night and I didn't rebound, and my sleep was still perfect. And that was the game-changing thing that made it possible for me to get ripped using Retatrutide. So if you think about it, the truth is Retatrutide didn't actually get me ripped. It was my hard work, my structure, me being locked in that got me the results. The peptide definitely made the execution a hell of a lot easier, but it was me that turned up and done the hard work and put the steps in, put the miles in on the treadmill. You think Retatrutide is this magic pill and it's a shortcut to fat loss, and you don't have to do any hard work. You've got it dead wrong. You have to put the miles in. Combining biology with a solid strategy, you can accelerate what you already set out to do. If you are using Retatrutide or you used it in the past, let me know in the comments what your strategy was and how it worked for you. You should watch this video next because this is the one that the YouTube algorithm thinks you want to watch next. It's targeted to you. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you very much. See you in the next one.